Emma always believed her marriage to Michael was perfect. They had a cozy home, two children, and a love story that made their friends envious. Michael was a devoted husband, a steady rock who worked tirelessly to provide for his family. He had a special way of remembering little things: Emma's favorite wine, the exact shade of yellow she loved in sunflowers. But perfection is often fragile. Emma felt restless. She wouldn't call it unhappiness, but there was an emptiness she couldn't quite explain. She blamed it on the monotony of life, the endless cycle of laundry, bills, and PTA meetings. Then came Daniel. A charming coworker, he noticed her in ways that Michael no longer did. His attention felt like an intoxicating escape. It started innocently: coffee after work, shared laughter, and compliments that rekindled a spark Emma hadn't felt in years. But as days turned into weeks, their connection grew deeper, slipping beyond her control. Guilt lingered in the back of her mind, but she silenced it with excuses. Michael worked late. He didn't notice her new dress, or the way her eyes lit up when Daniel texted. She convinced herself it was harmless, until it wasn't. Secrets, however, have a way of surfacing. One evening, Michael found a message on her phone, an intimate exchange with Daniel that left no room for doubt. He didn't confront her immediately. Instead, he withdrew. Emma noticed his silence, the distant look in his eyes. She assumed it was work stress, unaware that he was piecing together the painful truth. Then, one morning, she found the letter. It lay neatly on the kitchen counter beside her favorite coffee mug. Michael's handwriting was steady, almost detached, as if he had poured out his heart but refused to let emotions smudge the ink. Emma, I always believed that love could overcome anything, but trust is its foundation. When I vowed to stand by your side, I meant it with every fiber of my being. I have loved you through joy and sorrow, through the ordinary and the extraordinary. But love cannot survive betrayal. I found the messages. I've replayed every moment in my head, wondering where I failed you. Maybe I was too focused on providing, too blind to see your restlessness. For that, I am sorry. But the choice to betray our bond was yours. This house, our life, was built on trust, and now it feels hollow. I can't stay in a place where betrayal lingers in every room. I need to leave, for my sanity, for our children, and maybe even for you to find whatever it is you've been searching for. The children deserve honesty. I will always be here for them, but I can no longer be the man standing in the shadow of your lies. Michael. Emma's hands trembled as she read the letter. Tears blur her vision, but it was too late. Michael was gone. His side of the closet was empty. His keys were missing from the hook by the door. The weight of her choices crushed her. She had gambled with her marriage, and the cost was more than she could bear. The house, once filled with warmth and laughter, was now silent, a haunting reminder of what she had destroyed. Emma sat at the kitchen table, clutching Michael's letter. The only sound was the faint hum of the refrigerator. She replayed the past few months in her mind, searching for the moment she had lost control, the point of no return. Upstairs, the children were still asleep, blissfully unaware of the storm tearing their family apart. Emma knew she had to face them, to find the right words to explain why their father wasn't coming home. But how could she? How could she admit that she was the one who broke their family? Days passed, and Emma tried reaching Michael, leaving messages, sending emails, even writing letters of her own. Each one was met with silence. Michael had drawn a line she couldn't cross. For the first time in their marriage, she realized he wasn't going to forgive her. Her affair with Daniel ended abruptly. The excitement that once pulled her toward him now felt empty and meaningless. She couldn't even look at him without feeling the sharp sting of regret. When she told him it was over, he seemed relieved, a painful contrast to the passion he once claimed to feel. Michael moved into a small apartment across town. His priority was the children. They alternated weeks, each exchange painfully polite. Emma saw the sadness in his eyes, the hurt he tried to hide for the sake of their kids. He had always been the stronger one, and now that strength was focused on rebuilding without her. For Emma, the loneliness was unbearable. The The friends she once confided in kept their distance, their disapproval unspoken but undeniable. She buried herself in work, dedicating every moment to being the best mother she could be. But the emptiness lingered. Nights were the hardest. She would sit alone in the dimly lit living room, staring at old family photos, wondering if there was any way to undo the damage she had caused. Michael, on the other hand, was healing in his own way. He found comfort in his children and solace in rediscovering himself. He took up running again, a hobby he had abandoned years ago, and even joined a book club at the local library. Slowly, he built a new routine, one that no longer revolved around the marriage that had once defined his adult life. Months turned into a year. The wounds began to heal, though the scars remained. Emma tried to rebuild her relationship with Michael, not as his wife, but as a co-parent. They attended school events together, exchanged polite conversations at drop-offs, and presented a united front for their children. But Michael had moved on. Emma discovered this when their daughter casually mentioned a new woman's name. The realization hit her like a tidal wave. He was letting go, truly moving on. It was in that moment that Emma fully grasped the weight of her choices. She had gambled with her marriage, and though she had lost, she was determined to find her own path to redemption. Some mistakes could never be undone, but they could serve as painful reminders of the cost of betrayal. As Michael's life flourished, Emma was left to grapple with the aftermath of her decisions. The house felt colder, emptier. Once filled with laughter and shared moments, it had become a hollow shell of what it used to be. The nights were the loneliest, though the days weren't much easier. Every corner whispered memories of Michael, his favorite chair, the way he brewed his coffee, the spot where they used to slow dance to their favorite songs. Encouraged by a close friend who hadn't completely abandoned her, Emma began therapy. At first, the sessions were agonizing. Admitting her faults, confronting her actions, and revisiting the choices she had made with Daniel felt like peeling away layers of skin. But over time, she started to understand the deeper issues within herself, the restlessness she had ignored, the void she had tried to fill with the wrong person. Her betrayal, she realized, wasn't just about Michael. It was a reflection of her own insecurities and unspoken fears. At her therapist's suggestion, she began journaling. At first, she was reluctant, but each night, she wrote letters to Michael, not to send, but to release the thoughts weighing on her. She poured out apologies, regrets, and confessions she could never say aloud. She wrote about the love they had once shared and how much she missed the man who had been her anchor for so many years. Meanwhile, Michael's new relationship was progressing. Sarah, a teacher he had met through a charity event, was kind and understanding. She knew about his past and gave him the space to heal, while also showing him what it felt like to be truly appreciated again. For the first time in a long while, Michael could breathe. He wasn't just a husband or a father. He was Michael, a man rediscovering his worth. Emma noticed the change in him. There was a lightness in his demeanor, a peace she hadn't seen in years. It was bittersweet. She was happy for him, but it also reminded her of what she had lost. The moments they shared as co-parents were cordial, even friendly at times. But the chasm between them remained. One day, while dropping off the kids at Michael's apartment, Emma lingered at the door. "Michael," she began hesitantly, "I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. For everything. I know it doesn't change anything, but I need you to know that." Michael looked at her, his expression softening. "Thank you, Emma. I appreciate that. And I hope you find peace too." It wasn't forgiveness, not entirely, but it was closure. A step toward letting go of the pain that had shaped their lives for so long. As the years passed, Emma found her own path to healing. She rebuilt her career, strengthened her friendships, and embraced her role as a mother. She even started dating again, though cautiously, her past mistakes forever etched in her heart. She learned to live with her regrets, not as a burden, but as a reminder of the strength it took to move forward. Michael and Emma never reunited, but they built a respectful relationship as co-parents. Their children grew up knowing they were loved, even if their parents were no longer together. And though their story had ended in heartbreak, it became a testament to resilience, the ability to rebuild, even after everything falls apart. As time passed, Emma and Michael's lives followed different paths, yet their shared history lingered in quiet moments of reflection. For Emma, the holidays were particularly difficult. The warmth of family gatherings once held in their shared home had been replaced by a rotation between households, a reminder of the permanence of their separation. She found comfort in her children's smiles, even as she longed for the days when they all sat around the same table. Her relationship with them deepened as she threw herself into being the best mother she could be. She attended every recital, every game, and every milestone, hoping her unwavering presence would help them navigate their fractured family dynamic. Michael, on the other hand, embraced his new life with Sarah. She brought a calmness he hadn't realized he needed, a sense of balance that steadied him. After a couple of years, they moved in together, blending their lives seamlessly. Sarah treated Michael's children with kindness, earning their affection without overstepping. Michael often marveled at how she brought light into his life, not by replacing the love he had once held for Emma, but by creating something new. Something different. One spring afternoon, during their daughter Sophie's high school graduation, the entire family gathered for the first time in years. Emma sat beside Michael and Sarah on the bleachers, a stark reminder of how life had changed. Their son, Jake, cracked jokes to ease the tension, and for a brief moment, they were all laughing together. It was a glimpse of what could have been, tinged with the bittersweet reality of what was. After the ceremony, they took a family photo. Emma stood beside Michael, their children between them, with Sarah on the other side. It was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, how life could twist and bend without completely breaking. Later that evening, as Emma scrolled through the photos on her phone, she stopped at the family picture. She smiled, not with sadness, but with acceptance. Her life had changed irrevocably, but it wasn't over. There was still time to write a new chapter. Years passed. The children grew into adults with families of their own. Emma and Michael became grandparents, their lives once again intersecting at birthdays, holidays, and milestones. The animosity that had once defined their relationship faded into mutual respect, an acknowledgement of the shared love they still held for their children and grandchildren. In the end, Emma learned to live with her choices, not as a source of pain, but as a foundation for growth. Michael, too, found happiness he hadn't thought possible. Though their story didn't have the fairy tale ending they once envisioned, it became a story of redemption, resilience, and the quiet strength of moving forward. Life was messy, but it was also beautiful in its imperfection. And for Emma and Michael, that was enough.